So the purpose of making this video is because I've seemed to have developed a problem that nobody else has really had. Well, I won't say nobody else has really had. I'll say it's not a very common problem, because even when I went to the dealership, they looked puzzled and said, nah, we haven't had anybody come in complaining of this particular issue. He also went on to say that the issue was so uncommon that they didn't even stock the parts, and he had no idea when they'd be able to get the part in. I went to several different dealerships. Everybody gave that same puzzled look on their face when they saw what was going on. Nobody could really explain it, but I did manage to get to one dealership where they were able to help me. They got my trunk back open, which the issue was the trunk being stuck shut. But it lasted for about 5 days, and it happened again. And when I went back the second time, they weren't able to get it done. The technician gave me a few instructions to try to see if I can get to it myself, and I'm going to show you all how I corrected the problem. But to demonstrate what the problem is, the trunk is shut. You go up to it like normal. You press the button. You hear the lock release, but it doesn't release. Now, at first glance, you hear that, you may think, oh, it's not closed all the way. Nope, it's completely closed. Also, on the inside, there's a little safety release in case you ever got stuck in the trunk, but it's an SUV, so it's not possible to really get stuck in the trunk. But if you ever had to get out of the trunk, there's a little safety release lever. My safety release did not work, and the second time I went to the dealer, they actually broke it. Now, of course, because I was already gonna replace the lock, I didn't trip too bad when the little lever was broken, but that gave me all the more motivation to go ahead and get it knocked out. So here's what I did. Again, let me demonstrate what the problem was. Hope you can hear that. And I'm going to show you how I fixed it. Okay, so the gentleman at the dealership, he suggested that I attempt to remove the panel from the gate so that I could get access to the lock and latch from the backside. And my main concern was, how was I going to do that with the door closed? Come to find out that it's actually very possible to do. The only thing that had me concerned was the one video that I saw that explained how to do it. One, the gate was already off of the vehicle, and two of the screws were on the sides over here, basically behind where the gate comes into contact with the body of the vehicle. But after a little bit of exploration, I found that this thing is actually very, very simple to take off. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So the tools that you need for this job is basically a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver or something long and flat, and a little later, either a 1/2 inch or 12 millimeter socket. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take off this center piece. This is basically broken up into 4 pieces. You have this piece, there's a side piece here, there's a side piece here, and then the main door body. But to take this piece off, it's very simple. If you want to, you can use some of those automotive pry tools. I have some, but when I attempted this, I didn't have them, so I just tried, and it's very easy just to use your hand and take it off. So you just grab onto this, and it pops out like so. It's basically secured with those white tabs. And then you have your first Phillips head screw there, and your second one there. And once you remove the screw, just like you did the part on the top, this piece just pulls out and separates. Again, secured with the tabs. And then you just repeat the same thing on the other side. And make sure you keep track of your screws, because these little things are easy to lose. And then you have the other side. Like I said previously, the video that I watched originally that showed how to remove the panel had the screws down on the side in between the body of the car and the liftgate. But when I removed the side panels, I was pleased to see that the screws were just here on the sides and they were easy to access. So just remove these screws. There's one here and there's one on the other side. I will also suggest that you do this in a place that is very cool. It is about 100 degrees today where I live, and inside this car is very, very hot right now. But I'm still gonna get this done. And the other one. Come on. And that's that. Now you won't be able to completely remove the door yet because there are 2 more screws in the bottom, but you'll have enough room to do what you need to do to hopefully get the door open if you're having the same problem. So what you're going to do is you're going to reach up and you're going to pull down. This is the fun part. And you're basically going to bend your plastic down, but be very careful not to damage this. For a piece of plastic, this is a very costly piece of equipment and you don't want to have to replace it. Now this next part is going to be a little bit more difficult to see, so I'm going to try and do it one-handed so I can hold the camera in my hand. So this is what the mechanism looks like from the inside and the back, and as you can see, like I said, my little emergency safety latch has been broken off, but it wasn't working. There was something that was in the way that was obstructing the movement, so it wouldn't work. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to reach down. Let's see if I can get it into the lock. Might need my other screwdriver. 1 second. Yep. And that's the sound you want to hear. You see light on the edges, and you're good to go. Oh. Air, thank God. So the other 2 screws that are still holding the panel up, they're underneath the pull down handle. So basically you just want to pop this off. And you can access the 2 screws. There's one on that side and one on that side. I got it. That's one. And I'm going to put the phone down for a second because when I try to take this one down, it's going to come down completely. So 1 second. And that's 2. Panels comes down. Just toss it in the back. So then you have the cable, you have the latch mechanism, and this is where the 1/2 inch or 12 millimeter socket comes into play. You're going to remove those 2 bolts and your old latch is out. up, and old locks out. Please don't mind the filthiness of the back of my truck. I do a little bit of everything in here. I had some plants and other yard stuff in here. That's why the dirt and whatnot. But anyway, getting back to the point. So when shopping for the replacement online, there's a bunch of different ones out there, and you'll notice that they come in a range of different prices. The ones that are specifically listed for the Telluride, and my Telluride is a 2022. The ones that are listed specifically for the Telluride, they range from about $89 upwards to almost in the ballpark of $200. But of course, that's getting closer to the actual button mechanism, or if you have an auto trunk. I don't. I just have a manual trunk. If you have an auto trunk, it comes with the actuator that releases the trunk as well. So be mindful of that when you're shopping for the new lock. Make sure that you get what you need. But there are some that are cheaper, between the $30 range to $50, $60 range. But all of those will tell you that they're not for the Telluride. This one right here that I got, it was actually listed for the Hyundai Tucson, and it also mentioned Palisade. So I'm like, okay, Kia Telluride, Hyundai Palisade, they're essentially the same vehicle in a different wrapper. So if it'll fit the Palisade, why wouldn't it fit the Telluride? Well, the thing about these two locks, they are extremely similar in just about every way, except for the base of this one is silver and mine is black. But front and back look generally the same. The only real difference that I see is this one has 3 screw holes. This one has 2 holes, and the holes on this one are a lot smaller. Now, the new one does not ship with the screws, so keep that in mind. Also, here's the other little piece that was broken off. When I opened it the first time, it was just sitting up there like this. Also, what I think happened, if you notice that little screw in the middle over there, mine is missing, so it could have gotten down in here and blocked this from doing its job. But basically it does like that. It wasn't able to completely get over to press the release like I'm doing right now. There was something stuck in there. But anyway, I'm one of those people that I don't like to throw things away, because one day this might be useful. And today is one of those days that I'm very glad that I did not throw these things away, because I just so happen to have 2 screws that fit this perfectly. So now I'm going to put this lock in to show you how it fits, make sure that everything works like it's supposed to. And even though on the listing it said that this one is not for the Telluride, when it's plugged in, it actually does work. So new latch is in, and again, like I said before, the listing online did say that it would not fit the 2022 Telluride, but I just want to attempt to show you all that it does in fact work. It's going to spin around when I let it go, so I'm going to try and reposition the camera so that I can show you. Yep, there it goes. Okay, 1 second. Hold still. And I push the button. There we go. So it does work. So I'm gonna finish the installation. Basically, it's going right in here. It sits right in there like so. And of course, the other 2 holes, even though they're smaller, they do line up. If you decide to get this particular one, I'll include the listing and the link. There's also another one I saw on Amazon that I'm interested in trying out. I may order that and tear all this stuff out again just for the sake of seeing if it works and attempting to save some money for some folks. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the screws in. I don't know the exact measurements of these screws, but the heads on mine are 230s. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish putting it together and show you all how it functions. Okay, got those in. Now for the moment of truth. Voila. Alrighty, there you have it. And that's how you change the latch mechanism in your Kia Telluride rear liftgate. So this is what the finished product looks like on the inside. Everything is secured. And this is how the emergency release is supposed to work. On the 2022 model, there's a little slit in the door where you can put something flat in, and you can slide this to the right and it should release the door like so. Putting it back together is almost just as easy as taking it apart. You just put everything back in reverse. Of course, no screws are in this yet, but you put the latch in a little slot that's cut out for it, and everything else should line up, and then you just push everything and the snaps will snap themselves back into place. You go and put your screws back in, do your sides and then your middle, and you're done. One more quick thing that I wanted to note, and something that I did while I was waiting on the new latch to come in. So this piece in the middle, that's the actual part that holds the door closed. It was sliding up against the little housing that it goes into. And if you look near the bottom, you can see like a little bit of silver right here. I took my Dremel, and on this side and on the other side, I ground a little relief in it. So it's still making contact at the top and the bottom, but in the middle, there's no contact. So it allows the mechanism to float more freely. So whatever happened, it shifted, and it was actually dragging up against the edge of it and causing it to bind. So when you close the door, it would lock, but the spring didn't have enough oomph to bring it back to the open position whenever you push the button. But I think I'm going to hold on to this one just in case anything happens and I need a quick replacement. But again, this part right here is broken, and I think it's important to have that. So I went ahead and replaced it anyway, even though I restored the function to this one. But all in all, it wasn't a very difficult repair. Actually, wasn't a very time-consuming repair either. Just have a little patience with yourself, and if you need to, I am positive that you'll be able to complete this with minimal difficulty. But like I said, I hadn't really seen anybody posting anything on having this issue or how to correct it, so I'm hoping that this video helps somebody. Thank you all.